Two stories have been uncovered in the media recently involving two different individuals who have been convicted of rape, yet they were let off with a slap on the wrist. Let's start with the first case involving a Baltimore County, Maryland cop who had been convicted of rape but will not spend a single day behind bars for that crime. Prosecutors say that the judge in that case argued that since the rape victim, in his mind, suffered no psychological injury, then it's not appropriate for this rapist to serve time behind bars. Baltimore County Circuit Judge Keith Truffer suspended all but 4 years of a 15-year prison term and offered the officer here, he's a cop, former cop, Anthony Westerman, to serve it at home. Baltimore County State's Attorney Scott Schellenberger said that the sentence was not appropriate for a police officer who, quote, should know as well or better than others the reprehensibility of such an act. But unfortunately, it seems like the judge doesn't understand the gravity of this. Prosecutors said that in sentencing Anthony Westerman, he's a 27-year-old, Circuit Judge Keith Truffer determined that there was no evidence of any psychological injury to the victim that he raped, despite the fact that she indicated that she had received therapy. By the way, I didn't know that that was the standard. So apparently, according to this judge, the rape is only bad if the judge feels that the rape victim had suffered psychological injuries as a result. I guess that's the standard, according to this judge, which is insane. Insane. We're not talking about someone who's charged with rape. We're talking about someone who's convicted of raping someone. And by the way, what happened exactly? So let's go to graphic 5 here. There are several women, actually 3 different women who accused him of sexual misconduct. The rape case stemmed from October 4th, 2017, when according to charging documents, Westerman was at a bar in White Marsh and told a woman that he would arrange an Uber to take her and her friend to the second woman's home, but he didn't do that. Westerman instead had the driver take all 3 to his home, where he, it's not alleged at this point because he's been convicted of it, raped one of the women while she was unconscious, according to prosecutors. The 22-year-old woman told her friend about the assault and the 2 immediately left. Westerman, by the way, was also convicted of second-degree assault for an incident involving another woman, a 22-year-old victim. In that case, the woman told police that she was at a birthday party in Middle River when Westerman grabbed her and tried to kiss her multiple times until she left. So he was convicted of rape and sexual assault. There was another rape charge against him involving a 3rd woman, but he was acquitted of that.
So 2 things here before we get to a case that arguably is even worse. So number 1, was it just an honest mistake? And you could have difference of opinion. Well, number 1, he was convicted, so there is no difference of opinion. It was rape. Second, and it's very hard to convict, especially on rape, because the lawyer's always saying, this guy's lawyer is saying it even after the jury verdict, because he's gonna appeal. So, oh, he said, she said. Well, yeah, when you take a person that you said you were gonna put in an Uber, and then you put them in your car instead, and you drive them home, and then you rape their unconscious body, that's not an honest mistake. That's not a he said, she said. That's not a miscommunication. She didn't ask to go to your home. You said you were gonna bring her to her house. Instead, you did what you did. But the judge, because we're run by a male society, and that is the assumptions built into the system and into some of those old judges' heads. Well, I mean, there but for the grace of God. No, not there but for the grace of God. No, the guy's convicted. What else do you need? Probation. And then Anna's absolutely right. What is this insult to injury? This new standard where, okay, oh fine, you were raped, but how much did it really damage you psychologically? Are you kidding me?
That doesn't matter.
Are you kidding me? Of course it doesn't matter. What, like now, okay, you were mugged, but were you psychologically injured after the mugging?
Do you apply that standard to everything else? A crime is a crime. We're talking about rape. We're talking about rape. We're not talking about a property crime. We're talking about a human who was raped, a second human, by the way, who was sexually assaulted by this cop, by someone who's supposed to protect and serve. And then there was the third woman who also accused him of rape, but he was acquitted of that. But by the way, this isn't even a story about cops. This is a story about how little our criminal justice system really gives a damn about protecting people, including people who have been victimized by violent crime, including rape. So let's take a little trip to New York, because there's a second story that I wanna bring up in this context. Guess this is a theme in the news today. So there was another person who confessed, he took a plea deal and admitted to raping 4 different women, okay? Christopher Belter, now 20, entered a plea deal in 2019 in which he agreed to plead guilty to attempted first-degree sexual abuse, third-degree rape, and 2 counts of second-degree sexual abuse, according to court documents. The charges stem from 4 separate incidents in 2017 and 2018 in Lewiston, New York, the documents state. He and the victims were all under 18 at the time. He was 17 when he committed these crimes, okay? Now, he received a super light sentence as part of this plea deal, but he actually violated the terms of the plea deal. That's important context. So Belter was placed on interim probation for 2 years with limits on his internet use and access to pornography, but he violated the terms of his probation. Judge Matthew Murphy denied him youthful offender status and ruled he'd be sentenced as an adult, the documents state. So he, again, violates the terms of his plea deal. By the way, the plea deal is ridiculous. He pled guilty to 4 different sexual misconduct charges. Rape is included in there. And so anyway, then Judge Murphy issues a sentence of 8 years of probation and ruled Belter must register as a sex offender, but said prison time would be inappropriate.
Inappropriate for 4 rapes. Inappropriate. Now, I gotta read you these 2 graphics. I'm gonna go to graphic 13 first, because I want you to understand the severity of what happened, if it wasn't already exceedingly clear. One of Belter's victims, identified as MM, was 16 in August of 2018 when Belter raped her and, quote, told her to stop being such a baby, court documents state. She told the court she focused on a plant in his room, quote, as she cried during the attack.
But prison time would be inappropriate according to the judge, Cenk.
Inappropriate, inappropriate. Prison time is inappropriate. As he's raping the 16-year-old, he's telling her to stop being such a baby. But poor guy, I mean, putting him in prison with other criminals. I mean, he's an upstanding young white male. I mean, does that make him a criminal? Well, the judge agonized apparently over it. I don't know which quote enrages me more. Let's go to graphic 12. He said, I agonize. This is Judge Matthew J. Murphy. I agonize. I'm not ashamed to say that I actually prayed over what is the appropriate sentence in this case.
You're so brave for praying. Wow, so brave.
Because there was great pain. There was great harm. There were multiple crimes committed in the case. It seems to me that a sentence that involves incarceration or partial incarceration isn't appropriate, so I'm going to sentence you to probation. But hey guys, don't worry, because he prayed over it. The minute I saw prayed over it, I was like, oh, there we go. Lunatic, right-wing, Christian, right-winger of some sort, right? And guys, if you're a Christian, for God's sake, take your religion back, because almost every person in public that talks about being Christian, it uses it to justify monstrous things. Christianity has wonderful parts. Help the poor, the needy. I could go on and on. The Sermon on the Mount. Will you reclaim your religion from these monsters? Well, I prayed over it, and then I realized I don't care about those 4 young women who were raped. And it is monster. And by the way, the guy admits it 1,000 times over. And he says, I gashed you. He used that word, and I shouldn't have, and I'm so sorry, and I know it affected your life. And the judge goes, 4 rapes of young women.
Prison time would be inappropriate.
Nah, inappropriate. And but I prayed over it, and then realized I don't care about women at all, even though I'm a judge, and I'm not gonna punish you for your rape. You're gonna get probation. So now, look, we all know this, but now add women to the list of people that this country doesn't care about. So if you're historically and still to this day, and history rains down on us, if you're a minority in this country or you're a woman in this country, the white male power structure didn't give a damn about you. You were disposable. your chattel, your property, quite literally. And it's not just for black people in this country who were taken as slaves. Women were told you're not allowed to vote, and your place is in the home, and you're not allowed to go to work. You're imprisoned inside a house. You must make babies, and if you have any problems inside in your pregnancy, we will punish you because your job is to be carriers of our babies. And that's still happening right now in Texas, Ohio, all over the place. And we covered a story the other day about if you have a miscarriage, they now put you in prison in some places. A Native American woman going to prison right now for having a miscarriage. So, and then now in these cases, oh, you've been raped? Well, you didn't prove enough psychological injury. And it's a poor guy, he only raped 4 of you and did it in a brutal fashion. Prison's not appropriate. Well, if you're not sick of that, man, you got gaslit by our media and our culture that told you that it's supposed to be like this. No, it's not supposed to be.
I never want to hear a goddamn person, or like, why didn't the woman report it? I never want to hear that again. Why didn't the woman report it? Because even in a perfect scenario where the perpetrator admits in a court that he had raped the victim, he still gets let off. Probation, because jail time would be inappropriate. So anytime someone argues, well, maybe we should doubt this person because they didn't report it immediately, understand that there are no incentives under this current system to report it because you're victimized further after you've been raped. That's how this justice system works. It's not a justice system. Whether we're talking about black people, Hispanics, women, it is not a justice system.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.